All right, believe we're live. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to this program. Today, we have an exciting guest. You see him right there. His name is Ali, but he is known as Baba Ali. He's an Iranian-born American Muslim comedian, filmmaker, board game creator, and entrepreneur. He became famous in the 2000s for using humor to teach and discuss Islamic topics in a relatable way. Here he is. Assalamu alaikum. How are you, Baba Ali?
Wa alaikum salam. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and hopefully, we'll make some interesting things for your audience. So, it'll be an
Exactly.
interesting story.
I'm happy to have you here. And I guess we can start with was that all accurate? I got it from your bio, from what I read. Pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's funny. Different people know me from different phases of different projects I've worked on.
Yeah.
So, some people who know me from my comedy, they're shocked when they find out I have like a kids show, and the people who know I have a kids show, they're shocked when they find out I run single events. So it's like it depends on which phase they've discovered me, and then they get surprised when they discover that I'm completely doing other things
Yeah.
in the future. So yeah,
Amazing, amazing. Subhanallah, amazing. Yeah, I came across you years ago and watched you on YouTube kind of thing. But I guess we can start with Baba Ali. How did you get the origin of Baba Ali? Where did you get that?
it's interesting because I started making board games,
Yeah.
and I needed an easy name because I want to do something different. I want to sell board games not just to Muslims but to non-Muslims as well. So I
Mm,
needed an easy name, and my legal name is Ali Ardekani, which is hard to pronounce. It doesn't
mm.
really roll off the tongue very well. So I figured, okay, what's a good pen name to have on my board games? So my kids call me Baba, my wife calls me Ali, so I just made the name Baba Ali, and that just kind of stuck with me.
Oh,
I
so
went up, yeah.
that name came after you got kids, you're saying, right?
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't even think about it. I just want to start making games and put it on there. Otherwise, if I knew that the name would get spread around the world so much, I would probably name me something other than Baba, which means dad. And everyone keeps calling me
Yes.
dad.
Interesting. That's amazing. Yeah, when did you coin that name? How long has it been? Like
It's
15,
since
20 years?
2006.
Oh, 2006. And then when I read 2000s, then you got Megan on that. I get into that more detail. But let me put interesting question here for you. Okay, what's the least funny thing that has ever happened to you on stage? Have you ever done? I know you're introduced as a comedian kind of thing. Is there anything that stood out to you? And what made you funny? We can start with that first of all.
Yeah, so the first time I went up on stage, I wasn't there to do comedy. I didn't even was even interested in comedy. And the whole way I got into the whole comedy thing was that I was invited to give a speech somewhere, and I had stage fright. So I was looking for a class to take, and just with such short notice, there was no classes available. So I went online and I found this stand-up comedy class. And I said, okay, I just want to go learn how to publicly speak. So I learned from a comedian how to speak rather than from a normal person who gives speeches. So when I ended up going giving a speech, I wasn't trying to really be funny. I was just trying to speak, and people thought I was putting a performance together. And what happened was, as I'm talking, everyone keeps laughing. In my mind, I think they're laughing at me,
Mm.
not laughing with me. So I walk off of stage after I giving my speech, and so that was a disaster. And someone walked up to me and said, "Hey, can you do that same performance at our organization next?" I'm like, "What?" "Yeah, that was amazing." And I'm like, "No, what are you talking about?" And then another person asked, and then that's how the whole thing started. I didn't even try to be a stand-up comedian. I've been to one stand-up comedy show my entire life. So I was like, I'm not like into stand-up comedy, and somehow accidentally it fell into my lap.
Oh,
So as far as the least funniest thing, I think it was me being
yeah.
on stage when trying to not be funny and people are laughing. And
Uh,
then I found out they're laughing with
so,
me.
so did you like take it at a college? This class that you're talking
No,
about?
I took it in a bowling alley. So
Oh,
the yeah, so the
uh,
comedian who's teaching this class
yeah.
says, "Look, I want to put you in a very awkward situation where there's lots constant sounds of bowling balls, and that's what real comedy is gonna be like. There's gonna be
Yeah.
distractions, things that are planning." And he just taught us in a bowling alley. And it was like, I'm kind of like wondering in this class, what am I doing here? I'm supposed to give a speech. In fact, I remember the first day of class,
Yeah.
he asked everyone, who wants to be a comedian? Like, he's trying to hype us up. everyone raises their hand. And like, what are you here for? I said, well, I'm not here to be a comedian. Well, why are you taking a stand-up comedy class? I said, I'm here because I have to give a speech somewhere and I need to get my nerves out. So I need to know how to talk better. And he looks at me, he's like, okay, when is your speech? I said, next Saturday. Next Saturday? Okay, this is it's not going to do anything in a week. Okay, stand up. Let me see what you got.
Yeah.
So I stood up and said, hi, guys. He said, just introduce somebody. So hi. And he says, man, this guy is terrible. He said, you talk like a robot. And it's like,
wow.
So he said, you know what? I have a plan for you. He said, what? On Tuesday, I want you to come and perform at the stand-up comedy place. I said, I don't even know how to do comedy. I'm not even here for comedy. He said, that will help you get your nerves out. So he said, bring a recorder and record yourself. I said, okay, that way you can learn about what you did wrong. So I brought a little camera recorder and I recorded myself and I spoke, I don't know for how long, but the entire time I spoke, not one person even laughed. I don't think they even smiled. They just looked at me like I was giving a speech.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So, till today, no one has seen that recording. Not my wife, not my kids, not my friends. I don't even know what happened to that tape. That was a disaster. So when I went to go and talk for the first time, I said, it can't get worse than that. That was the worst thing. So maybe when you hit rock bottom.
Oh, wow. Was that comedian somebody we know or like famous, or he's just a regular?
Yeah, the comedian that taught me his name was Dante. And he went up to Last Comic Standing, and he was on the television show for NBC later on.
I see. Okay. African American. I think I've heard of him. He sounds familiar. Maybe.
Yeah, he's actually a white guy that won the Best Black Comedian on BET Awards.
Really? Okay, interesting. So that kind of where it started, you thought. So what made you go into that? You just were getting out of your fear, you said, out of the fear of
stage fright. I just need to go learn how to public speak, and I thought it'd be more fun learning from a stand-up comedy class than a boring speech class. But I didn't realize that I'm actually going to learn how to be a comedian. So.
At that stage, were you in college? What age were you?
I was probably 30-something years old, early 30s.
Got you. After, did you go to college? Did you study something?
Yes, I studied IT, which I'm still in the field I am in right now.
Oh, got you.
So I'm in
California area, right? That's I'm assuming you were. Okay, got you. That's amazing. And so you went to that. Now, you're also Muslim, and I am too. And so a lot of the audience here watching, this is on my Islamic channel, but there's some others who can watch, and so we can learn about that. So when did you realize about Islam? I know you were in some kind of a camp, and from there you picked up, but how did you incorporate Islam with comedy? At what stage?
Yeah, so I told the comedian that, so I went to the class the following week after the disaster. And so I said, I guess I still have to learn how to publicly speak. So what happened was that I started asking questions. I said, look, I know in comedy, it sounds like based on what I'm learning in this class, you just have to lie to make people laugh, which is the standard, right?
Yes, exactly.
I said, I don't want to lie. I'm a Muslim. I want to speak the truth. And they're like, that's not how comedy works. Yeah. And what's funny is after I became a comedian, I got contacted by a very famous Muslim comedian and says, I know you're trying to make a point in your performance, but comedy is the point. So I'm even learning that even from other comedians, they didn't have the same mindset. Their whole idea was that, okay, the whole goal is just to make people laugh. It doesn't matter how you make them laugh, just make them laugh. And for me, it was more than that. I want to do things the right way. I don't want to lie to make people laugh. I don't want to make fun of people's ethnicity or mock people. And then people are like, then what are you going to do? Because if you look at a lot of humor, that's okay, let's make fun of the fat person, make fun of Pakistani person, let's make fun of Arabs, make fun of this, whatever the situation is. I'm like, but what if we don't make fun of those things? We still can make people laugh. And like, well, how are you going to pull that off? So it forced me to be more creative, which I think was a good thing. So if you go listen to my stand-up comedy, my comedy is more like real stuff. It's kind of like, hey, you're about to get married. Let me tell you what's funny things about men and women and how we are different from each other. And that I did a whole set about that. Or I did a set about like being a Muslim comedian, being a Muslim in America. And that is itself funny because it's everything from like finding a place to pray in public and all the funny stuff I've been through and all the different challenges you go through being like being Muslim and trying to travel Muslim while flying. So I have all these different experiences, and I go up and I talk about these things, and people start laughing. And because they're so accustomed to people lying to make them laugh, one of the most common questions I get asked is, did that really happen? I'm like, yeah, that actually happened. It's like, wow, that's hilarious. I said, yeah. So I had to take mental notes when funny things happen. And
Yeah.
it's funny because I think the real stuff makes people laugh even more than just making
Oh
up.
yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, sometimes there's something that's there that happened that is funny, but it's not haram or against Islamic values or that. But a lot of the things, unfortunately, like that. So that's amazing. And I'm gonna show a clip from some of the stuff that's kind of funny here. It is funny for the audience to watch. And so, but who was that Muslim comedian that you talked to? Do you want to shout out his name or?
No, because he probably wanted that conversation to be private.
I got you. Okay, let me go ahead and just show a clip here. This one is talking about the married guy. It's a short here. Let me just show this clip here. Let me see. Okay, I think I have to move this here. Let me see. The settings sometimes. Let me go here. Okay, let me move this, and then go here. Okay, there we go. You can see it, right? Okay.
It looks like everybody is sleeping, so this is a good time. I am looking for a good wife, someone who is honest, someone who's transparent.
Who are you talking to? Come back to sleep, honey.
I'm just talking to a friend. Go back to sleep. That's my roommate. They're worried sometimes, maybe having bad nightmare. Okay, where was I at? Oh yes, I'm looking for an honest person who's a good...
Hey, ladies. He has no job, just dreams.
Why would you think that?
And he farts a lot in his sleep.
Hurry this up. Okay, if you are a good wife and you want to marry a good, honest husband, let me contact you maybe when everyone is sleeping and things are more private.
If I catch you on that dating app again, I'm going to break your little arms.
So that's an interesting clip there. I think you use a little bit of AI in it too as well. Talk about that clip.
So one of the projects I work on is helping people find other single Muslims find each other, and I have a platform for that. And what I've discovered is all the different types of characters that people come across as in their pursuit of finding somebody. And I hear no shortage of real stories from people. And I'm like, man, this is hilarious stuff. But it's kind of like, I'm already married, but I want to put myself in their shoes and then make little clips about the different characters. So what I did is I made about I think 18 different characters. And it's really hard to do it after the first 3 or 4 because how do you change your voice each time? How do you come across different mannerisms, different behavior? So it really feels like you're a different person. So that's one of the persons. I had another one that he's a scammer and he's trying to scam you for your stuff. And so there's the wimp that sisters come across, all kinds of different characters that you come across. There's an informant who works for the FBI and he does not even care about you getting married. He's just trying to find a way to get you in prison. So it's like all these different characters that you come across. Who knows what you come across when you look on your pursuit?
Amazing. Well, that comes up with one question here. So, has there ever been a topic that you could joke about, and the community or that would be upset, especially the Muslim community? Is there something that, like a topic, or maybe there's a topic you did and then everybody got offended on, and we had to think about it and reword it? Is there any?
So the thing is, like, when you come up with comedy, what I did in 2006, I can't do in 2026. Like the comedy, people are highly sensitive. People are natural, become victims of, oh, I'm so offended. And then everyone wants to be offended because it's cool to be offended. Yeah. So if you're trying to make a joke about something, they'll find a way to make it offensive. So I'll give you an example of a joke that you can do in 2006.
Yes.
But you can't do in 2026.
Yeah.
So you can say, haram relationships are like fat people. They don't work out. Now, if you did that joke in 2026, they're laughing because, it doesn't work out, if you try and do things the wrong way.
Yeah.
But in 2026, like, oh, you're making fun of fat people. No, I'm not. So that's how you're thinking because you're assuming the joke is about fat people. If you listen to all the rest of the content before and after what I just said, we don't even discuss people's weight. We don't discuss this. We're actually talking about relationships. Like you can talk about whatever relationships that's not like halal relationships. They're going to end up fizzling out. So that was a joke, but
Got
people
Yeah.
don't see it that way. So
No, yeah, absolutely, and you're right. I mean, things have changed even with other comedians, non-Muslims, right? But things have changed before. You can be open now. You can't. There's more sensitivity. There's more censorship. There's more other movements out there that are censoring things of what you can say and what you cannot say. Okay? Even with the Muslim, but usually I'm assuming the Muslim community from way back until now, things have become the same in terms of what you can say and what not can you say. In terms of haram kind of thing.
yeah, what's kind of sad is that people, the one thing they're not offended about is people making fun of each other's ethnicity.
Oh,
Or the way they look, or the way that kind of stuff. That doesn't bother them. But it's like other stuff is like, oh, these are touchy subjects you can't talk about. It's
Yeah.
funny. It's how they pick and choose what's offensive, what's not. It's really strange to me, because the point of what I try to do with my comedy, I actually try to make a point about certain things, and I try to use humor to make the point. Right. So I have this bit about they're going to throw you off the airplane. So what not to do, because if you do, they're going to throw you off the airplane.
yes.
So I did this joke, and this was the first joke, by the way, I've ever done in my life. I think in 2006.
Really? Okay.
In Canada.
Uh-huh.
So I get up on stage, never done a joke in my life in front of a Muslim audience at all.
Yeah.
And I get up, and this is the joke I do. I say, hey, there's things that you shouldn't do, because if you do, they're going to throw you off the airplane. So in order for you guys to remember this, I'm going to have you guys repeat, they're going to throw you off the airplane. So every time I put my mic at you guys, you're going to say they're going to throw you off the airplane.
Yeah.
So the joke would go, and I'll talk about all the different things you shouldn't do. Like, for example, if you see your friend named Jack and he's on the flight, don't say hi to him.
Exactly.
If you say hi, Jack, they think, and you're a Middle Eastern person, this doesn't go well for you. So, and then people start laughing, because what's funny is like, that's true, but it's also a double standard that, hey, if another person says something innocent, but if a Middle Eastern person says it, or an Arab person or whatever, they look the part, you automatically assume that the worst of those people, right? So
yes,
kind of but it's kind of like, but I'm not making fun of that. You know what I mean? It's like how I can make people laugh without making fun of. I make fun of the situation, rather than individuals. So people watching, they don't take it personal.
Oh, absolutely, that's different. Yeah, you make fun of the situation and around a general thing better than one person's. Like if you say, let's say Ahmad, or say Ali, or Muhammad, that person, that's a little different. That's not good. But if you're saying in a general form kind of thing, the comedy can be funny. Comedy is funny, and we need comedy. I think that's something important that a lot of Muslims, especially, they see that comedy is something that's a shame. Have you seen that before? Have you noticed a lot of them like?
I think because they've seen comedy done by certain people, and they rub them the wrong way.
Yeah. Exactly, definitely. Now, where do you get that funny comedy from? Like, is it somebody from a parent, or did you watch cartoons, or something like that, or it just came out naturally from you?
I think it's just natural. When I did my first videos, my wife didn't watch it maybe till a week later, until I tried showing it to her, and she's like too busy. And like most of my friends never saw me for years perform stand-up comedy, even though I did about 400 shows, audiences as large as 40,000 people. But what happens is my friends are like, I already know him. And my wife is the same. My mom didn't even watch me, I think, years later. One time. She's watched me maybe perform maybe once, maybe twice max.
Oh, I see.
And I've done, again, nearly 400 shows. So what happened was that most of the people who know me personally, they said, this is who you are anyways. Like, you're just, my daughters will tell you the same thing. She says, this is your character. Now people are discovering you for the first time, but we already know who you are. So why are we paying to watch you? It doesn't make any sense. Or coming to a show, even if it's for free, to watch you. You're just how you are at home, So this is your way you think, and that's I think that's where the humor comes from. I see things through a different lens from, I guess, some people, and that lens is what I talk about.
Gotcha.
The world in my perspective.
Yeah,
and talk about the funny stuff I see.
Like for me, I also have some kind of a humor as well, and my dad has it as well. My grandfather had it, and so we have that in the family bit. So I'll say things, and my friends say I'm no funny. We don't know each other that well, but once we do, or we meet in person, maybe one day. We did meet actually in person one time, maybe 10 years ago. We met in Chandler, Arizona. You were at the fundraiser event. I should probably do, but I get my comedy from listening. I watch TV or different things like that, and some of it, it could be good, but some of it is like stuff that's really funny. I can't think of it off the top of my head now, but certain things, you joke like, maybe for example, you'll have Christians. Oh, they're gonna do Ramadan with us this year, and it's some funny joke like that, which time and it depends. So I get that from my family, kind of thing, So and you probably had it naturally, from what I'm understanding.
Well, even with coworkers, like
Yeah.
I have another Muslim coworker,
Yeah.
and he may ask for like Friday off,
Yeah,
or I may ask for Saturday off,
yeah,
and then we're both asking for different days off, and then the manager says, "Why do you? What's going on?"
yes, yes,
Well, it's Eid for us.
Yes.
Well, I thought your Eid was on Saturday, or because the
Yeah.
other coworker is asking for a Saturday, or you're asking for Friday, whatever days we're asking.
yes.
But no, he follows a different opinion. What do you mean? Well, the moon sighting.
Exactly.
His Islamic Center. Which country is he in? Oh, he's in the same. He's about 15 minutes away from me, but apparently their community didn't see the moon, but we did. So Eid's on Friday. It's like what are you talking about?
Stuff like that. They get so confused about that, kind of thing, And I remember, I think in 2006 when you started, that's when YouTube was on, and so that's when we really followed the religion. We came back to the religion, and we watched you. You were funny in those beginning, the moon sighting and all that. I'm gonna show a little bit a clip from the beginning of those videos. Has your I know your comedy changed, like you said. Has the style or the things you've done differently back then? I'm sure the technology has changed.
So when you guys see clips online, like you're about to see right now,
Yeah.
this is more of a monologue, me venting or talking about certain situations or things. But
Yeah.
when you see stand-up comedy, when a person on stage and doing comedy, the format's a bit different. You're talking to the audience rather than doing a monologue. So you may interact with the audience sometimes. So and also I change the subject some bit based on like sometimes who the audience is. I may walk in and have content in my mind that I want to talk about, but then completely change it because the audience that I expected is not what I expected. So audience is way different than what I thought. It may be younger or older or families, or it may be mostly parents. So now if they're parents, let's talk about parent stuff. If they're mostly young people, let's talk about young people stuff.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you get different types of people watching, non-Muslims and all that come in. And do you still do stand-up comedy shows around the country, or not anymore?
Not anymore. So now I mostly host single events, but when I hosting single events, sometimes I'll sprinkle in stand-up comedy in the sprinkle events, and people start laughing. So it's a very nervous audience who's like, who are looking to get married are now laughing, which I don't think they were expecting to do. And it's unexpected comedy that comes out of it. So here's our clip.
Yeah, let me show a clip from this one. This is kind of funny. I think this is extremism, and that's something that's should be laughed about, right? Because I know a lot of people say that there's extremism, but majority of Muslims are not. That's the thing, and it's always hyped up. So let's see how this goes.
Where did this meat from? Where is this meat from, brother? From a cow? I know it's from a cow. I want to ask you, where is the brother? Why are you playing games, brother? Give me.
Yeah, this is like a good example right there, making fun of the halal meat. A lot of people are very strict on that. And where did you get it from? Was it exactly halal? That's a good one there. Yeah.
Give me phone number of the guy who kills this cow. Give me phone number before I get angry. Where is your phone? Let me get this.
Yeah.
You better hope this phone works, brother. Hello? Salam, brother. Listen. I want to know how you killed the cow. What do you mean, who's this? Don't worry who I am. Worry about who you are, brother. How did you kill the cow? I am at the meat store. How did you kill the cow?
Yeah, so that's something that's very. What do you have to say about this one? I mean, this was done.
Yeah, so this is actually based on a true story. I know somebody who's who's interesting, that the person is very, very strict on slaughtering. It's not just has to be halal, but I need to go interview who slaughters it. Wow. And then I'll drive hours, like 3 hours trip to go interview this person, find out what country they're from, how they're this and that. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, who put all these extra rules to make things 10 times more difficult? But then the other people, when it comes to certain things, they take it very seriously, and everything, some other things are totally wishy-washy. So they kind of pick and choose what makes them religious and what doesn't. And that's where I find the comedy in it. It's kind of like, really, this is the craziness of this. So this is like loosely based on a true story. So it's like, obviously you're not calling the cow, but they actually went in. They didn't even call. They actually went in person and drove, I think, 3 hours of round trip just to do this interview with the person slaughtering the meat.
That's
type of
crazy. Yeah, I mean,
thing.
yeah, I'm going there, it's too extreme in that, and then thinking that, and then a lot of them think that's the religion. So
That's where the comedy comes from, like
I
real
know.
stuff, that real people, like all the funny stuff you go through, you know.
Yes, exactly.
I'll tell you one quick story.
yeah,
I
go
was
ahead.
one time trying to figure out when I was learning to do stand-up comedy.
Yeah,
You notice when comedians are supposed to do comedy, they're supposed to give them like, oh, you're supposed to only speak for 5 minutes. And
Yes.
that's common, by the way. You have
Yeah.
7 minutes. So you
Uh-huh.
think to yourself, what do I say exactly in 7 minutes? But then they're not carrying a watch with them. So they're not keep looking at their watch to see if 7 minutes is up. In the back, usually in a comedy place, they'll have a person have a light bulb flash that
Yep.
says you got like a minute left, or they have a light flash that say you have like 30 seconds left, or a light flash that say you have 10 seconds left. So they know how to wrap up their comedy, right?
yes.
But for Muslim events, they don't have any of this stuff. It's a fundraiser, and then you're supposed to go try to make them laugh type of thing. None of this stuff and tools are there. So now I have to get a sense of what 5 minutes or 7 minutes or 12 minutes feels like. So I used to take a stopwatch with me when I used to fly to the event.
Yeah.
And I would have a stopwatch around my neck, and the stopwatch is counting down. So what I noticed is I'm like mumbling words because I'm doing my comedy on the flight, and and then this constant ticking. I noticed the girl next to me.
Yeah.
She's starting to get nervous. So I don't know why. I realized, okay, the Middle Eastern guy has a stopwatch counting down, and he's mumbling words to himself.
Yeah, in the airplane, right?
Yeah. So what I did, I took on the airplane. I took the stopwatch off. I put it in my carry-on, and I pushed it on my backpack, I think, under the seat.
Yeah.
And I forgot this sports stopwatch has an alarm on it that sounds like a bomb. So totally coincidental. And it's like beep, 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 beep. The whole thing is going off. Oh man, it was terrible. But again, that incident is what created a joke, which I ending up saying it on stage.
Oh wow.
So, yeah, it's all kinds of funny stuff that happens. I'll give you one more quick one.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that one though. Did anything happen on that flight at that end, or
No, nothing happened on that flight.
Oh,
but other things I know people who've been thrown off of flights. Because of just the way they appear, or maybe the utter or cologne or they're wearing, and people just automatically assume certain things about them.
Oh wow.
All kinds of crazy stuff happens in this whole experience of going from events and doing things. But I try to remember as many as I can.
Yes.
And then when I go on stage, that's what I talk about.
Got you. What was the other story you were gonna mention?
You made me lose track of thought when you asked me.
It'll come back hopefully soon. They'll come back. So I do have here another question. Is there any video that went viral that you were surprised that it would go viral?
Yeah. So I did all these comedies, and then I did this one video. I said, look, I'm not gonna make comedy on this one. I'm not making any humor. I'm not trying to make people laugh. I'm just gonna talk like this the whole time. And this one had 100,000 comments, not views, comments. Now, this is not, don't compare them to 2026 numbers.
Yeah.
Back in 2006, where a lot of people they don't have phones yet. The iPhone had just come out in 2006.
Yeah.
So we're still not using it like that. Most people are viewing stuff on a computer or on a desktop. So there's no iPads, none of those things are at that time. It's just people using computers. So you didn't have that much consumption like we have today when people are just scrolling on social media.
Yes.
So to get that many views, 100,000 views was like 10 million views of today. Wow. So to get 100,000 comments, I had to shut down the comments at a point because it's just getting ridiculous. I don't even respond to them, by the way. Just the whole page is just like going like this.
You can't. It's impossible.
The video was about why Islam. That was the whole video. It's called Why I Chose Islam. Because I'm a convert. I became Muslim.
Yes.
And all I talked about was like why I became Muslim. And I talked about my thought process in becoming Muslim. And that was very controversial for some people.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it triggered people so bad. I was shocked. But
I think your story is kind of amazing because you came from an Iranian background. Supposedly, were they considered like your grandparents or that? Were they considered like, I know they weren't really religious, they're elites and stuff like that. You were very rich, but they consider themselves like a Muslim in any sense, or not at all, like your grandparents?
No, I have relatives that are practicing Muslims. My family are extremely secular.
Oh, I see.
It doesn't matter. Like when I started idol worshiping when I was like, I don't know, 19, 18 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
My parents had no problem with it.
Got
So you
you.
can worship
Oh, wow.
idols, you can be whatever religion you want. We don't even care what you worship as long as you get good grades. That's
Got
how
it.
secular they are,
Yeah,
right?
a
So
lot of sections,
zero care.
especially in the era of like the Shah and all those, and his family, the Pahlavi. They're also very, very secular in that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when we came, I'm originally from the Balkans, so we came here. Nobody was practicing. Came to America, but my parents knew about Islam. They would do Ramadan. They would pray once in a while, but they were okay from when we learned it and we read the books because me and my brother came back to the religion by studying it and all that, and we loved it. And my parents were open minded and they liked it. Now that we're well practicing. How is your relationship with your parents now and family, if they're still around?
Well, when I first, yeah, my father passed away. My mother, for the first 3 years, it was hard for her to even accept the fact that I'm Muslim. But it took 3 years of her just interacting with me and watching me go up and down, left and right, and all these different things that happen in your life. Like you lose a job, you get a job.
Yeah.
You were poor and then you become rich, or you become rich, you become poor. You go up and down, you get married. All the different experiences and challenges you have in your life, like everybody has,
Yes.
Muslim or not Muslim.
Sure.
My mom saw how I responded in those situations and says, whatever this religion is, I accept it. So I accept you being Muslim. And then years later, and again, I'm not like trying to like convert her or anything because I can't do that.
Yeah, right.
So she's just watching my behavior. She's trying to see what Islam is as you having a Muslim son.
Yes.
And through her experience, her interactions, her questions, and eventually she told my wife she's Muslim.
Wow.
So yeah. So
your mom told you.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's
so
amazing.
yeah, it turned to a complete 180 from the time that they kind of like moved away and they didn't want even my own brother to be impacted by Islam. They're worried.
A lot of times, I think they've been impacted, brainwashed from the media and stuff like that as well. Would you say so too as well? Your parents, it could be wherever they grew up. When did they grow up? During the 60s in Iran, probably. In that period.
Yeah, it's a completely different era, different time period.
Right,
This is remember, Iran was a lot like because of Shah of Iran was following pretty much at what Ataturk and Turkey was doing.
Yes.
Taking the country and trying to make it as secular, make Islam as something in a history book, right?
Right.
So it kind of pushed people the opposite direction. If anyone who's a practicing person is looked as not intelligent or like lacks critical thinking or stuff of that caliber, right?
Yeah.
So for them, they were worried about me becoming religious because that's just going to be a downfall. People that are not intelligent, that's what they do. Exactly. And for them, it was very strange when I became Muslim and they realizing that it's not through like emotions or just I feel something or just had a good story. I'm intellectually convinced that this is the truth.
Exactly.
So,
yes. Absolutely.
And that's the part that was surprising to them. I'm not just following like a cult personality. No, I actually study this stuff, study why I'm asking questions that we don't ask each other often. Like, why am I here? Why do I exist? What happens after we die? Can we prove there is a creator? Yeah. Not just because some book says so, but can we intellectually prove that there is a creator? Like think with the same brain we've been given of all the evidence that's around us and come to a conclusion. If we do, then study the different religions and see which religion is the truth because they all claim they're the truth, or at least the followers do.
That's true.
But let's see if there's real truth. If the creator is very wise, he'll make clear signs that this is the truth and you will see it's from the creator. If it has any faults in it, like even minor, or it has like contradictions or any type of thing, then you know it's not from the creator or it's been corrupted. Even if it was from the creator initially, human beings are corrupted. So can we prove whichever religion you're following that is not been corrupted, it is the word of the creator and it claims it's from the creator. There's other religions, even the authors don't claim this is from the creator. So Islam does. So that's what was very interesting for me. So when I studied it, it was very easy for me to become Muslim. It was very hard for my parents to accept it, but it was easy for me to accept it.
I was going to say, if people can get the concept that there's a creator and there's a creator out there, and that's the main idea for Islam, that there's no God but God. And so that, if they realize that, because a lot of people do believe in God, and so if you tell them that, but Islam is an Arabic word, meaning submission to God. If they accept that part, then they're okay with that, and then from there you can go, because I've talked to a lot of people, and when I became more into the religion, I used to talk to people in where I work and all that, and they were kind of like, kind of arguing kind of thing, but we weren't really fighting in the good terms. So they have to understand that when they understand that, they become very open-minded kind of thing. So
Yeah, I think there's a lot of misconceptions, especially with the news and the media, and a
Yeah.
lot of people don't know Muslims, like,
Yeah.
and if the few that may come across, they're usually not practicing, right? Or they don't. The people they know may not be. They may be more secular and then may not be connected to what Islam actually teaches. Because to be fair, they may have been not taught from their parents. They've
exactly.
been watered down. So as you said yourself, like you went back and rediscovered what the religion teaches. So our parents may have some like symptoms of it, like positive things, like, oh, they fast Ramadan, they do certain things, like certain spiritual things, but do they really intellectually convince Islam is the truth, like they can do dawah or explain to others? Most unfortunately, most parents can't. They just learn it through like culture and tradition. But it's really, really, I can't tell you, especially for those who are in dark places in their life, and you feel like you're asking yourself constantly, why am I here? Was I just created just to work and have fun and die? Or is there more to this? Because if you think about it, like if I came into like a controller, like if I came and saw a video game controller on an island,
Yeah.
and with all these complications of a controller and all the buttons and all the mechanics and maybe the computer chip inside, and I
Yeah.
saw it on an island, I wouldn't think that someone just randomly created this for nothing.
Yes.
Someone
Exactly.
made this to use as a joystick to play a game or something. They didn't just put all this effort and all this time to build something for nothing. So
Yeah.
think about it. This world wasn't just randomly created with all of this intricacies for nothing. Whoever it is that made all this should have a certain level of intelligence that's beyond human beings. And if a person has that much intelligence, or any being that has that much intelligence, they don't just randomly make stuff for the sake of making things. Imagine if I was like a person who I made a phone. Does it work? No, I just gonna make something else. I made a remote control. I just made a microphone. I just made this. Well, what does it do? Nothing. Well, that's not a very intelligent person.
Yeah.
So intelligent people make things that have purpose behind it. So the creator didn't just create you. There's a purpose behind what you're supposed to be when you're here in the world and everything else. So all those type of things made me interested to go really learn, what does Islam say? So that's one of the things is when I started making my YouTube videos, I was like, oh, it's great that there's Muslims doing dawah, which basically means invite people to Islam and tell them what Islam is about. But what about us Muslims who are already Muslim right now, with all the issues we have?
Yeah.
Who's talking about that?
Right.
That's what it made me motivated to start making YouTube videos, to do videos for Muslims. What was interesting is the majority of my audience end up being non-Muslims who's watching my videos on YouTube. Because YouTube isn't a Muslim channel; it's a non-Muslim channel.
Right. Exactly.
That was interesting. Like, and
So,
people became Muslim from it.
was there any like stereotypes that you got from Muslims when you first like went to the mosque or became friends or told them I'm Muslim? Were they open? Were they welcoming at the time, or how was your experience when you first?
For them, most of them have never seen a person who's like from Iran become Muslim. So that was very strange for them. And so there's usually, most masjids are either Indian, someone from the South Asian,
Yes.
or Arab, or like, and they do have all kinds of Muslims, by the way. You have everything from African American to Malaysian. You have everything in different masjids. But generally, you have a lot from different certain areas, right?
Yeah. Yes.
But Persians generally are not practicing Muslim, especially here in the States, especially like places like Los Angeles.
Yeah.
This is the secular audience that left Iran, usually prior to the war or during the war. So they came to continue their secular world here. So to become religious here, that's why.
I was going to coach you a little bit. I have a friend actually who moved to LA, but I met him in Arizona, and so they were practicing. They came in at an older age, but they were actually practicing praying. And so when I actually went to his house, he's actually named after like a Persian, Shahruz, his name, like a ancient Persian. And so they were actually praying, and I wasn't praying, and I didn't know what Shia and Sunni were at the time. And so he was like, "I'm going to go pray in the room. You want to pray?" And I said, I didn't know what that was. That was like, I didn't know. He would pray, and I would like, and then I would see him like he would go to the college, and he would maybe talk to a girl or say hi to her. I was like, how is he praying? And then, like I had these ideas, but then he would do Ramadan, all these things, and then so I had questioning now. But now I realize that, and so and I'm still friends with him. He's a good guy, and so I'm gonna go maybe visit him when I can. And he still practices. He's one of those. He's from Isfahan, his family. And
Yes.
so, so they're a good family that my family became good friends with him. We worked with them and that kind of thing. So, sorry to cut you off. I hope you remember your comment there. But you were talking about Persians are not generally as religious when they come here, right?
Yeah, it's really strange. Like when I became Muslim, it's like it was really hard for my family to accept it. It just
Yeah.
it was a strange phenomenon. Why would you have rules when you can be free?
Yeah.
And it's like that's the hard part for them to understand. It's not like I'm just trying to make my life difficult. That's not what Islam's about. Islam's actually liberating. So it answers all these questions and gives you a way of life that brings peace to you and harmony. And it's hard to explain to people who don't have it. You know, a lot of people have all this wealth, but they just have all the stress that comes with it. They go through, everyone goes through pain, right? Everyone goes through like losing a loved one.
Mhm.
But a practicing Muslim has a different lens. He sees things through a different lens that gives him peace when certain things happen. It doesn't just like go down the deep end. You know, it helps with a lot of things in life. It's hard to explain.
Exactly.
But when there's a certain level of peace that comes, and this is why you see so many people so grateful and says, "I wish I found Islam earlier."
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. So when they realized you're from Iran, and then you took this, did you take a jihad with them, and then they realized you're from there? Oh, they're kind of Muslims, or it's a Muslim country. They were kind of surprised, and then I'm sure they were welcoming after that. They had were they shocked a bit?
My parents, oh yeah, my parents were
the community.
the community. I was new to the community as far as like I didn't know I didn't know what Muslims were. I didn't know what they believed in. Nothing.
I see.
I'll tell you something that actually happened to me that I said on stage.
Yeah.
That was like a joke, right? So, but when people say I'm joking, they think I'm like being serious. I'm not sorry. They think when I'm being serious, they think I'm joking. And when I'm joking, they think I'm being serious. So I was in it was a place in California.
Yeah.
I walked into the masjid
Yeah.
and I was supposed to perform stand-up comedy there that night.
Oh wow.
And before I performed comedy there, one of the organizers says, "I want to introduce you to somebody since you're Iranian."
Yeah.
I said, "Sure." I said, "Here, this person, meet Ali. He's our comedian tonight. Ali, guess what? This guy is Iranian and he's an informant, working as an informant.
Oh,
but he's undercover informant."
Oh wow.
And I was shocked.
Wow.
So what happened is when I went on stage and performed stand-up comedy, not this place, but in a future place, I said, "Look, I went to a masjid. The guy introduced me, said this is an Iranian guy who's an informant." I was shocked that not that there's an informant at the masjid, but an actual Iranian is at the masjid.
Oh wow, wow, yeah.
But that was the comedy because Iranians don't even come to the masjid because there's such a lack of practicing Iranians. So the joke was that not the fact that, oh my gosh, there's an informant at the masjid. So we have plenty of those. The real fact is like we have a guy who's an Iranian at the masjid who's praying, which is really amazing.
That's great. That's also could be a stereotype, kind of thing, because people don't know. They assume a lot of Iranians go there, but there are out there.
They're there, but they're rare. I mean, come on,
exactly.
More likely to meet a celebrity.
Exactly. That's the thing. Awesome.
So that's what I'm saying. That what we're doing here is we're doing jokes.
Yeah.
But look, you're doing jokes that are not offensive and they're making you people laugh and it's funny.
Yeah.
And that's true stuff that really happens.
Yeah, like you walk in there, it's all Pakistan, and you see a white guy. What is the white guy doing here? You're in the wrong place. There's another there, that kind of thing. And then he turns out, turns around, assalamu alaikum. Oh, okay, that's great, So you have those things. People don't realize that, and then you see white Muslims, you see different. People need to know that, and then when you see that. We had the guy who actually converted. His name was Rick, and he might be watching. I don't know. And he's a white guy. He converted, and then he went to my dad's office to explain to them, "Hey, I'm a white guy. I used to drink this. Now I don't. I had all this," and they're all like shocked and watching him. So these kind of things. People have to know that Muslims can be any color, any skin, from all over. It just doesn't have
100%. All kinds of people. I meet Chinese Muslims from China.
Yes.
They have a huge. There's twice as many Chinese Muslims in China that there is in Saudi Arabia.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of different backgrounds and ethnicities.
I met a guy at a mosque. Actually, he was Chinese, and his name was Mahmoud. And so I was like, and we became friends, and we went out. And then he had a Chinese ID card, and so I was like, it was interesting. And we became friends. I don't know what happened to him. He moved out, and he came to Arizona to learn how to fly commercial airplanes.
Wow.
Was like, oh, that's right. And then so we connected. I think I have a picture with him somewhere. We met a couple of times. So that's amazing kind of thing. Yeah, awesome. we're almost gonna wrap up here, but let's talk about your half our Dean. So, how did you get from comedy? You became Muslim, your Iranian background, and then you went to comedy. Then, how did you found half our Dean? I know. I think you were talking about before when watching your videos about how hard to find a wife, come to America, become Muslim. How did you discover half our Dean? Let's talk about that a bit.
Yeah. So when I was doing all the stand-up comedy, I would travel from city to city, and after the show was over, I usually hang out and talk to people.
Yeah.
And what I noticed from one consistent thing from city to city is that there are a lot of single people that are struggling to get married. And I was like, man, I know how that felt because many years ago I was struggling to get married and I found my other half. And the current websites or whatever systems, platforms they had wasn't working. And it felt like this is the same thing as happening today. It's not working. So what I did is I shared my way that I found my other half to my friend. He got married, 18 years. Then I shared to another friend. He got married. So I was like, man, maybe this process can help other people get married. And that's where the Half Our Dean idea came from. So an idea from became a platform online, which is great. But I personally think the best way to meet people is in person. So the site you guys are seeing is just my name. If you go to babaali.com, that's the event site where you can actually meet people at events, and the events are structured so you can learn about each other and learn about each other's compatibility. How compatible you are basically with each other.
Exactly right. Yeah, the site you're talking about, is that the one?
Yeah, exactly. So so we built that, and then thousands of people have found the other half.
Oh wow!
Many of my close friends have gotten married using the process. In fact, I think I don't have one single friend. So everyone else is married. Like it works. And I'll give you guys some things that for those who are looking to get married or talking to someone for marriage, I'll give you one of the things that my process or like my model does. And that is, instead of just asking typical questions that you just, some people can just tell you what you want to hear or have rehearsed answers. What you can do is make the questions a little bit deeper by making sure that the questions don't have right or wrong answers. So you have every answer is correct.
Yeah.
And because both answers are correct, they can't tell you what you want to hear. So you can ask a question like, do you think with all the stuff that's happening in the world today, do you think we need more justice or do you think we need more mercy? Now, if they choose more justice, that means they're more fair.
Yeah.
If they choose world needs more mercy, that means they're more forgiving. So now you have a preference, which we don't know. Do you prefer a spouse who's a little bit more forgiving or a spouse who's a little bit more just, a little bit more fair? And each of us has a preference, and there's no right or wrong here. Yeah. Islamically, as Muslims, we know Allah has 99 names, and one of his is the most forgiving, and one is the most just. Right? So these are two great characteristics to have: someone who is just or someone who's forgiving. So that is a good question to ask to figure out, like, if are they like this or like this. And you can ask all kinds of questions that are like this to see who they are. And then that was just one idea. The other element was learn about personalities. Now, sometimes online you'll see personality tests and you learn about your personality, which is great, but it doesn't really help you get married. It's just help you learn about yourself. So what I did with Half Our Dean is I not only discovered what your personality is, but more importantly, what you're attracted to and what you can tolerate. Because if you want to get married, just find someone you're attracted to. But if you want to stay married, find someone you can tolerate, someone who can tolerate you. And those are the people who end up being married for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, because no matter how much they have indifferences, they can tolerate each other's weaknesses. So I built a test to measure what you can tolerate and what you can't, and which personalities you're more likely to be successful with. And that's just another layer. Then comes priorities and see what people's priorities are, or quizzes, and all these different layers that to a human being. And that's just online. And when you come in person at these events, everyone has been kind of handpicked for the event. So no one can just randomly come in, and there'll be like 150 people applying, but only like 60 people at the event. So everyone's handpicked. You rotate to the age groups that more likely going to be fit what you're looking for. The compatibility activities have been designed by me. I've done over 100 of these events. We've done over 104 events, I think, so far. We figured out like what works and what doesn't. So once we figure out the template that works, we just rinse and repeat from different cities, and I enjoy it. Like I enjoy it honestly more than stand-up comedy. As much as it's nice to make people laugh, helping people stay married and get married, that's priceless.
So that was so you have a staff that you deal with that helps
So
you
what
out.
I do is I actually have this model, and what I do is I tell organizations, whoever wants to use this model, you
Yeah.
can use it for your events. So
I-
initially, I built it for half our DEEN audiences in Southern California to do events.
Yeah.
And what I realized is a lot of people travel to come. People come from other states. People come from Canada.
Yeah.
I had one guy come from the UK for one of our events. So
Wow.
I realized, okay, this is not in other cities. This is why they're traveling to mine. So
Yeah.
I can't go to all these different cities.
Yeah.
So I need to make this model and then provide it to other organizations so they
Yes.
can stop using speed dating and use this instead. And that's what's been happening. So
Absolutely.
oftentimes I go host these events, and it's been really nice.
Amazing. So some of the people on the website, are they actually people who were clients of yours from the website there? Let me go back and show it here, like these people here. Are these actually
No.
clients?
One thing actually, the person on the bottom right, that is one of our success stories. So big person under my picture,
Yes.
that is a husband and wife. That's a success story. As you can see,
Interesting.
is two people from two different ethnicities.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
and that's one of the things I try to promote. I try to promote not just, okay, I want to show there's different colors of Muslims, and there's different ethnicities of Muslims, and there's different people, and it's okay if people marry different people, and because a lot of, unfortunately, we see within Muslims, there's a lot of culture, and a lot of young people who want to get married, cultural parents make it difficult for them.
Yes.
And that's one of the things I tackled in my YouTube videos. It was actually a whole video in my season 1 called Culture versus Islam,
Yes.
where I tackled culture and how it conflicts with Islam oftentimes. So a lot is interesting. It's kind of like I start with the YouTube videos, and a lot of those ideas, I never left them. I carried them over to helping people get married, because I instead of just talking about these issues, I can try to apply them. So I can use any couple I want on an image, but let me use a couple to kind of try to break down stereotypes.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's something else that stood out to me. You said you don't have a single friend, or you don't have any single friends.
I don't have any single friends.
That can go either or.
That's why. That's like I better autocorrect when I speak correctly, otherwise I get myself in trouble. Yeah,
Exactly. You have a lot
That's
of
why I'm
friends,
here.
but you have no friends who are no single. Exactly. That's a weird, comment. That's another thing. See, I catch stuff like that, and I'll use that. So that's a good joke that you can use.
There you go.
There you go. So
funny.
I gave you another one for that. So if you ever go back, that'd be. By the way, have you ever been? So when you were at that, anybody brought you on their shows before to do stand-up comedy? Any of these shows before, or you were just mainly more for Muslims or the mosques when you were doing them?
No, I've done shows at all kinds of places. I performed at Harvard. I've done shows at like Six Flags, at theme parks.
Oh, wow.
I've done shows at Knott's Berry Farm Hotel Place. All these different random places from major universities.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, from MIT, I performed as like the prestigious ones to like the small places, like the audience I performed with 40,000 people. That show. The following week, I was in Houston, Texas, at a small private event with 25 people. So it was like you go from one extreme to another. I was like in the Virgin Islands performing, and I'm like looking around like, how did Muslims discover this place? Like, I didn't know there was Muslims on this island. And I'm performing at a small island, and they invited me to come down. And then I think the week later, I was in negative 22 weather in Edmonton, Canada. So it's like these extremes from one side, and I'm always, one thing I've noticed is always people that this connection, that every time I go to different communities, there's always this warm connection between when Muslims discover each other. It's hard to explain. It's just amazing. It's like almost like you have an extended family everywhere you go.
It is. I mean, there are stereotypes. They say you go to a mosque, Muslims don't say anything, don't shout, and they need that. But I've been to a community where Muslims actually shook hands and say hi to me and salam alaikum kind of thing, which is that's needed.
There's always good people around. You're not going to always have perfect people either. By the way, sometimes you go to certain places. There's some. Again, this is where the difference between cultural Muslims, and practicing Muslims. And I tell people there's a difference between a Muslim who happens to be Iranian versus an Iranian who happens to be Muslim.
Yes, exactly.
I'm a Muslim who happens to be Iranian or Persian, right? My identity is Islam before my ethnicity. I never got a choice to decide what ethnicity I am, what color eyes I have, what I look like. So to be proud of these things is just silly. But I do have a choice of the ideas I carry and the way I conduct myself and the way I behave, and the way I talk to people. That's the stuff I should be like.
Absolutely amazing.
You know?
So how do you like kubani kebab, or what's your favorite Persian dish?
Yeah, I do. That's the Persian side of me that I like. Kubita kebab. Every time Persian food, I can never get sick of. But my kids are sick of Persian food because we eat it so much. So it's funny. It just doesn't pass on from generation
What's
to
the go-to restaurant in your LA area? Is there a place that I go to San Diego once in a while? There's a maybe have you been to San Diego? There's a place
Yes, I
there
have.
in San Diego. I'm sure I can't think of the name, but there's a place there that I get from it every time I come there. I'm sure you know it's next to that mosque that had that incident a couple of weeks ago. Balboa.
Balboa Park. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been there. There's a park there.
Yeah.
But is there a Persian restaurant in your area that you recommend?
Yeah, if everyone been in Los Angeles, there's a place called Hyder Baba. It's right across the street from a place from a community college called PCC, Pasadena City College, and the owner knows me well. And it's funny because I was there when they first opened.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's a Persian restaurant here, and the parents family is a practicing Muslims that want to build a business for their kids. Because the kids want to work one day. So like, hey, you know what? We'll just build a business so you guys can all work. And it became a family business. The families are actually locksmiths, have nothing to do with the restaurant.
Wow.
So, but they figure kids don't want to be locksmiths, so maybe they want to work in a restaurant. And
similar to here.
And
actually, we have a place here called Persian Room. And so the owner is an engineer. And so they opened a restaurant. And Caspian, there's a restaurant next to it, which is the Caspian Tea. And so we go there. You know, their food is different. So I always say I'm part Persian because I love the food, you know. But it's something about that. But maybe if I'm ever in your area, we'll have some food together.
That sounds good.
You know, we did meet one time. I just want to show the audience here when we met here back in 2000. You still look young. Same thing. About 10 years ago, almost. This was in 2017 March, around that time. I don't know if I posted that at that time, but we kind of look the same, right? I'm a little bit older, you're a little bit older, but we kind of thing. So it was nice of you to meet.
It looks like I'm wearing the same shirt still, too.
I think I still have that in the closet. I should wear that one, too. But
if we did this show and we knew this ahead of time, we would both wear the same clothes. If
I would know about that. That would have been great, too. I think I know the answer to this question. Tea or coffee?
I don't drink either, but if I had to choose one, I'll drink tea. I don't even have caffeine. I'm naturally hyper, so.
What's your go-to? Water? What do you
water.
Drink? Just water. Okay.
Yeah, just water. In fact, when kids see a water bottle, like, oh, Baba Ali's here. I like have my signature water bottle that I carry with me most of the time. So he's here.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess it's healthier. It's better that way, and that's amazing. So appreciate you. And I'm sure you speak Persian too, right?
Yes.
You speak Persian. Have you taught your kids Persian words a little bit?
No, the kids. My wife speaks 7 languages.
Oh wow!
So the kids are just confused at this point. So
English, just stick with English then. English, that's fine. Yeah, I have a nephew and his dad is Turkish, and so English is what he's speaking now. So it's confusing too for the kids, and sometimes they don't know. But that's good, smart to learn that. So I appreciate you, Baba Ali, for being on the program. Your closing thoughts. I'm amazing that we met and you were able to be on my show. We met almost 10 years ago. And then hopefully we'll meet again when I'm in your area. Your closing thoughts for our viewers and whoever might be watching in the future.
Well, first of all, I want to thank everyone who showed up for today and listening to this. And please, if you enjoyed it, share it with others. One of the great things about learning about people is the stories they went through. And hopefully today's was some interesting stories about learning about another person. And always support our brother Omar here. Amazing show, amazing host, great questions. And I've just been honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. I appreciate you as well. Yeah, amazing guest as well. Stay with you for a second while I close it here. This is a special summer series that we're starting. We'll do an episode every couple of weeks, and then we'll go back to our regular shows, which is on Sundays usually. All right. Assalamu alaikum, brother Baba Ali. Thank you so much for being on the program. I'm going to end the stream right now and stick with me for a couple of seconds.
Sure.